Hi students, welcome back to the Mimic Social Simulation. We are in round 5 this week. So you have made it through your first round of paid social posts. The first thing we want to do in this round is come up and look at our results from previous rounds. Because this round was much different than rounds 1 through 3, I did receive several emails this week of asking for tips and tricks for improvement. And so I will provide several pieces of advice for you here in this video. So I'm on round 4 and wanting to look at my post analytics. If I scroll down, the first thing I want to do is increase the number of column options that I have to look at, which will give me a better picture of the information. So if you remember from the second video I recorded in round 4, I created one post for each social media platform, and I gave each platform a daily budget of $107. So that's just something to keep in mind as we go through looking at some of the results. All right, my worst performing platforms are Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Twitter was my lowest performing platform. My revenue came in at $2,920. Then I have Facebook at $6,280 and Instagram at $6,840. Because these platforms did not perform well, given a budget of more than $100 per day, I've decided in round 5, I am not going to create posts for these rounds. Instead, I'm going to focus on the platforms that performed much higher. So for example, I'm going to look at Pinterest. And Pinterest generated $13,360 in revenue. Then I had TikTok that generated $14,240 in revenue. And my highest performing platform is YouTube at $37,880. One thing that I think helped in these posts doing well is that I used a wide audience range. So in this case, I used both genders and I used an audience range from 18 to 44 years old. One thing that I noticed in round 4 that several people did is that instead of looking at the social media audit in combination with the market profiles, students created audience for individual specific market profiles rather than combining market profiles to create a larger section of the audience. So for example, if I scroll down and find YouTube, here I can see, let me go back to YouTube. I had both genders and I had my age range of 18 to 44. And I can see that by using 18 to 44, I hit a fairly wide section of the population that is on YouTube. And since we've got 53% female, 47% male, by using both genders, I made sure to be as inclusive as possible. All right, one other item to note from round 4 is that you need to make sure you are minimizing spelling, grammar, and punctuation errors. In your post, if your caption or your headline has any of these errors, spelling, grammar, or punctuation, the algorithm in Stukent is going to rate you lower than if you had corrected these errors. So please make sure double check that everything is correct before you decide to hit run simulation, so that way you're not penalized for something that could have easily been fixed. Another item that I want to bring up for round 5 is using the correct type of media, or maybe I should say using media that is resonating with your audience. So down at the bottom of the social media audit, we're given advertising strategies for increasing brand awareness. The images of product in use compared to images of the product. So we can see that other than Facebook and Twitter, using images of our product in use rather than just an image of the product alone is going to rate higher on awareness and interaction. We also see that on Instagram and Pinterest, static images are likely to do well. And then on TikTok and YouTube, the videos are likely to do well, which makes sense since those are both video platforms. So this is something to keep in mind as well. I noticed that several students, instead of having an image of the product in use, you just had a standard image of the product, and that might not be resonating as well with your target audience. If we come up to our research report, we can see that the top revenue generating social media platforms in the bag industry are as follows. So Facebook and Instagram are listed as the highest. However, it does tell us that sales from bag advertisements on Facebook and Instagram have plateaued. So for me, Facebook and Instagram did not perform well in round 4. And I am actually not going to create any posts for either of these platforms as well as Twitter in round 5 to see if I can increase my results. So Pinterest, TikTok, and YouTube performed the best for me. So we can see here that Pinterest has increased by almost 20% over the last 3 years. And we have the relative newcomer of TikTok, which has seen steady growth, but it has not been adopted as widely in other industries. So hopefully my posts can create some revenue or create additional revenue for me for these platforms. All right, I think I am ready to go back and create my posts for this round. So again, I'm going to create 3 posts, one on Pinterest, TikTok, and YouTube. So let's start with Pinterest. And I've already created my posts. For Pinterest, I want to, let's say I want to generate awareness. So I'm going to create my post. My headline is going to be Buoy in Scotland. We've got buoy bags travel all over the world. Where will yours take you next? I am going to select an image of a woman wearing a buoy backpack in Scotland. And I think because this media does focus on an individual wearing a backpack specifically, I am going to change bags to backpacks. So I have buoy backpacks travel all over the world. Where will yours take you next? I'm going to select a shop now call to action, even though I am focusing on generating awareness, just to see how this does. I'm going to give a daily budget of $150. And I have created an audience already for Pinterest in the sake of saving time. And so I will hit select my Pinterest audience and then schedule my post. The second post I'm going to make will be for TikTok. And on TikTok, I am going to select reach as well, or awareness. And on TikTok, we have a video. So my text will be, check out this video from a buoy employee with her best kept travel secrets. So the media that I'm going to add is travel in red hues. So here I've got Buoy employee shares her tips on traveling, including her favorite Buoy bag. I'm also going to adjust my post text to say, and her favorite Buoy bag. All right, my call to action for this one will be to watch the video. And my daily budget is going to be $150 as well. And again, I've already preloaded a TikTok audience for us for the sake of saving time. So this is my TikTok audience. So I'll click select and schedule post. For my third post, I will create a YouTube post. And this time my focus will be on conversions. My post text will be, take your furry friend to the coast. Enjoy 25% off all backpacks this week only. My media will be the coastal video. This media is going to cost $2,000. I don't think I have ever spent $2,000 on a video before, so we'll see if this was a wise decision or not once we get our results. For the headline, we will say, take your dog with you to the coast. Because I am focusing on conversions, we want to shop now. And I'm left with having a daily budget of $107. So I'm going to use one of my saved audiences. I adjusted from last round. I've got YouTube, and I will click select audience. And then I will schedule my post. Since I have used the majority of my budget, I only have $1 remaining. I can go ahead and click Run Simulation and see if my strategy of posting only 3 posts to my top 3 performing platforms was a wise decision or not. All right, let's look at our results. So obviously we have nothing for Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Let's look at Pinterest. And this round I generated $9,640 in revenue, which is lower than from round 4. So that is not likely a good thing. Let's go up to TikTok. TikTok, I generated more than I did on Pinterest, but it is still lower than round 4. So I only have $12,000 in revenue this time. And my highest performer from last round, let's see. Okay. This time I generated $89,680 in revenue. So, overall, if I come back up to look at my post history, let's look at Pinterest so we can look at rounds 4 and 5 together. So round 4, I generated $13,360 in revenue. Round 5, I only generated $9,640. Let me expand these column options again. So likely one of the reasons that my post in round 5 did not perform as well is because my objective was brand awareness and the call to action was shop now, which does not necessarily fit with the objective. So I recommend that you guys do not do that. Let's go over to TikTok. And I used the same objectives and the same call to actions. I did increase my audience slightly. I gave my video additional ad spend. One of the reasons that this post may not have performed as well is because the video was focusing on travel, and the younger market segment may not have as much spending money to go on vacations. So that could be one reason, is just that my post did not actually resonate with my target audience, which makes complete sense. And then let's go over to YouTube. Okay, so YouTube is still my best performing platform. In round 5, I generated $89,680, whereas round 4 was $37,880. I used the exact same audience range. I used my exact same audience interests, had the same call to action, had the same conversions, and interestingly, had the exact same ad spend per day. I think one thing that might have generated the additional revenue for this round was having the 25% off all backpacks. So instead of just mentioning loving a good video, visit our website, now I'm also giving my audience 25% off for this week only. So we will look at these posts again in a little bit more detail when we get into round 6. But overall, my idea of using just 3 platforms did result in higher revenue. Although there is a likelihood that if I had used other platforms, I could have also generated just the same amount or even more revenue than just by using 3 platforms. So this is something to keep in mind, that yes, mine did well using 3 platforms, but that does not mean that you guys should only make 3 posts in 3 platforms total. So look at your results, look at where you did well, look at your audience ranges, look at the interests, make sure your call to actions are matching your objectives, making sure your post matches your video content. Make sure that your audience matches with the information that you're providing. So you have to take all of this information into consideration for your simulation and then make the best decisions for you. So good luck this week, guys. If you have questions, you're welcome to put them down in the comments of this video, and I will try to respond to them as quickly as possible. So again, good luck, and I will see you guys next week.